What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first ever episode of Clairvoyance, the new Heroes of the Storm interview show where we, get together with different personalities in the community and players. And I am Solid Jake, your host, joined by my co-host, CC. What's up, man?
How you doing, man? It's good to be here. Good to start a new show.
So a lot of people know who you are. Why don't you just introduce yourself really quick for people that don't know who you are?
All right. I'm a tournament admin. That's my main role that I do. I've been doing that for about 7 years. For Heroes, I'm one of the admins on the subreddit, so you might see me from there. And I've also run a couple of events already for Heroes, mainly my own event and Versa League. So if you've seen those things, I've been involved, and that's my quick little thing.
Well, we are in fact the host of this show, but we are joined by two guests here of Symbiote Gaming. Oh, let's start with you, Dreadnaught. What's up, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the viewers.
I play on Symbiote Gaming. I'm the shot caller and team captain for Symbiote Gaming. I main the tank role. Personally, my favorite tank is actually Stitches. I really like him. I attend school and I live in Wyoming, and I'm 21 years old.
And going down to Arthelon. What's up, man?
I'm Arthelon. I was a former League player. 19 years old. Now I'm playing Heroes. I'm on Symbiote Gaming, and I'm having a blast, and I'm here.
Well,
welcome.
Yeah, let's go a little bit more into in-depth there, though. So Wade, or Dreadnaught, tell me a little bit about your history in, just competitive gaming or gaming as a whole.
For gaming, I've been doing it essentially my whole life, like everybody else in the scene, likely. It started when I was very young and played multiple games, but I didn't get serious in gaming until about Halo 2, and then I played Halo 2 seriously. Then StarCraft 2 was the next one, and then World of Warcraft, League of Legends, and then now here in Heroes. But none have been on the professional level.
So, Halo 2, you played like the MLG playlist on Xbox Live or what?
No, I wasn't anything that would be notable. I played to the point where I was like locally sponsored and would definitely dominate local tournaments at a large state, but never anything that was like national and impressive. No Walshy by any means.
Matt actually has a history in Halo as well. So
that's my thing. That's where I started. It's good stuff.
That's pretty funny. So no competitive history. You're just a guy that's been playing games for a long time, and you think Heroes the game for you. You just kind of fell in love with the game.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a decent gamer at a lot of different games, but I've always really liked the analytical and like analysis of MOBA genre and the complexity to it. So I've always wanted to promote and push my gaming career in those areas, and so I tried a little bit with League, but definitely think that Heroes is a game that I want to be a part of.
Good. You're on the ground floor too, so it's good stuff.
Yeah.
We know your story. What about you, Arth? We know that you've been around the League scene a little bit. What else have you done?
A little bit. Well, I started playing just Nintendo games throughout my whole childhood, and then I discovered the glorious PC master race of gaming, and I played WoW obsessively in middle school, and if I wasn't playing about it, I was thinking about it. And nothing too serious. I got Gladiator Season 6, but that's about it. And then I discovered League, and I started playing that right when Season 1 came out, and I started getting really good at it because I played it a lot. And Season 2, I was at one point number 3 on the ladder. I had 2,600 EL, I think. And then Season 3, I started to actually try to be a professional at it. I went to some of the LSCS qualifiers with the team named Meat Playground. Great team name. Should have used it maybe. No. And then probably the highlight of my League career was in MLG Anaheim, the Challenger tournament. I was on FX Open. We took first off of that. But then it was kind of a downhill slope from there. And here I am.
Hey, man. Now you're just starting your next uphill. So that's what it is. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for that.
I like how we have Halo background, and then you said your biggest thing was MLG. That just makes me happy. I'm an MLG nerd, so that pleases me. But so that's a little bit about you guys, but obviously you guys are both from Symbiote Gaming. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your team and a little bit about the other members on your team and how you guys met? Because with Heroes of the Storm being a new title, there's going to be a lot of aspiring players that want to get teams rolling, and teams that are at the competitive level. And people might think it's unfair that you guys have a head start, but I mean, how did you guys actually run into your other teammates?
Do you want to take this from me?
I'll take it. Well, on my like second day of playing, I'm like, wow, I really like this game. I might try to switch over. And then I saw a post on the subreddit. It was like Symbiote Gaming looking for players. So I added Dreadnaught and I talked to him and he's like, yeah, we'll start playing. And then I think this was like 2 months ago or something. And then slowly we started. We had what was his name? Spade War.
Yep.
And then we had FX, and then KO was on the team from the start. We had those two players. We eventually had to replace them. We tried out some other people, and now we have Soldier and Mad Timmy with us.
All right, so it's KO, obviously you two, Soldier, and Mad Timmy. Now that's your current roster.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so for anybody out there that doesn't know, I used to play on a team with Soldier.
2Art Gaming.
Yeah, 2Art Gaming, and now he's with you guys. Like, how's that changed? Like, you just said that you've gone through a couple of versions, we'll say, of your team.
No,
How like
no fluff. What Matt's trying to say is Soldier delivering? Is he up to your standards?
No, yeah. Soldier's a good player overall. He actually, it's really healthy what he brings to the team because it's an entirely different point of view. And essentially, I view it as like what 2Arc built in their mentality when they were playing together. We get to see where they were coming from on a lot of the calls. Like, for instance, Soldier is very strong at determining end game and when you can win a game. So if you wipe a team fight at a certain point, he will call to win the game, and that is something like we would have played way more safe and extended the game 5 more minutes when we could have won right there, and he's very good at that. And beyond that, he's an extremely like mechanically skilled player. He has a good character pool, and he fits in well with the team.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds pretty much spot on with what he was. Yeah, on that note, how do you guys feel about the way that can happen in Heroes? Like, you look at League or a lot of other MOBAs, you can't really end a game just like, okay, we won that fight, it's like 10 minutes in the game. Like, he'll make that call, he'll just say, okay, let's just rush down this keep, and then we'll just take the core. Like, is that something that makes sense to you in Heroes, or is that still kind of a new thing?
For me, I think it makes sense to a certain point. I think early game, it shouldn't be able to happen as easily as it can, especially on specific maps like the Mines, for instance. It's very easy to win even half of a team fight, wiping 3 of them, keeping all 5 of you up, and as long as you have a decent-sized golem going with you, you're able to end the game very quickly. And so I think it's a little too easy in the early end of the game, but I think in the later half, I really like that it is one mistake, one bad team fight can actually be your end.
All right. That's good.
You kind of share the same opinions, Arthelon, or?
With the recent core buff they had to the core health, I think late game it's a lot harder to end. But yeah, if you still wipe a team and there's only like 1 keep between you and the core, I think it's a fair amount to just, go in the game. Because as a 60-second death timers, those happen pretty quickly. I think it's like, I guess it depends on levels, but like 12 minutes in the game, if you lose a team fight, you could lose the game just off of 1 bad team fight. So I think that's just something players have to play around and learn how to deal with it.
When it comes to game design, is that something, do you think that should stay that way, or do you think there should be adjustments made to, the game philosophy is to keep the game pretty short. Blizzard has already stated they want to keep the game, around 20 minutes. Do you think adding additional health keeps or anything like that would be something that Blizzard should consider, or do you think it's pretty healthy right now?
I think it depends map to map. Haunted Mines is a relatively very short map. Garden Terror is like almost always double the time of an average Haunted Mines map. I think, it's just whatever game time they want. And I think I really like the game times as it is. If you're having a bad game, you can just quickly move on. No 20-minute slugfests of just waiting for the enemy team to end it. I think death timers are a little too long, too quickly. I think we should see more death timers in like 30, 40-second range. Because for me, it seems like we jump from 20-second death timers to like 60 seconds in a matter of a few minutes. So I think that's maybe something they could improve upon, is just making the death timers increase a little shorter.
All right, fair enough. Do you think, I guess I'll ask this to Dread instead. In that same regard, do you think that okay, let's back up. The current system in place, we have the underdog system, right? And so like you get that one good team fight if you're behind, and then you get like all this crazy bonus experience and you catch up really quick. Do you think that might need to be segued out for something akin to maybe shorter death times, something like that, something that would let you, like if you lose a fight, you can get back in a lot quicker than the enemy team? Like you have like a 30-second death timer, whereas the enemy team has like 45, 60. Would that make sense, or does that not make any sense at all?
I don't know. I think the whole answer to figuring out like the underdog bonus and what they want and they don't want, I think is real. I don't have an answer for it. Yeah. I don't know what the cure is, and I don't even like have an idea of what I think the answer is. I think I don't like it, and I don't know how to fix it. And I think that's half their problem too. And everybody has like their theories, but I honestly don't have even like kind of an answer to it. I will say that I agree with the death timer concept that Arth was talking about. It grows too fast. It almost like grows exponentially because it goes off levels rather than time. And then, but I also think that like there is no answer to the underdog system. It's like, in my opinion, it's like as long as they find a way to make it to where the team who plays better wins the game, then I don't really mind it. But I don't like how it is now, but I don't have the cure, I guess.
All right. I mean, that's where I stand too. If I could fix it, I would have told them. Yeah. But I don't got anything, so all right.
Nobody has a solution. It's on. It's,
I actually like the underdog bonus though, because if you're 2 levels, 3 levels ahead, you shouldn't be dying in team fights. You should be winning them pretty.
It could be something as small as a number tweak. I agree with you, but it's definitely leagues better than what it used to be. I mean, the old like just inherit. Oh, you get XP for being behind. Oh, God, yeah, that was.
That one was just.
That was rough. That was rough.
All around.
I think one thing I would like to say about the underdog bonus is how it is now that I have a huge issue with is if Murky isn't already hard enough to fit into the current quote-unquote meta. Murky is a really weird character in the sense that if you get the advantage because of how he works with his like dying and respawning, he gets 1/4 of the XP. If you are the winning team and you're dying as Murky, that also is still 1/4, but with the underdog bonus. And I think if some character's kit is made to be dying the way that it is, the underdog bonus system, like how it is with Murky now, should not be like that. I don't think you might need to just change it for Murky, but it's really wrong there.
That's actually a really good point. I never even thought about that. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it works the other way too. If you're behind and you have Murky on your team, then his death means nothing. Like, he can literally just throw himself at them an unlimited amount of times, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, Murky's definitely a weird little thing.
Yeah, he is.
But they're working on it.
He's so cute though.
He's a cute little guy.
Come on. He can be really annoying, but he's cute.
Yeah. All right. Well, that said, let's get more into the competitive side of things. So scrims, we'll just dive right in. Scrims are a thing. They happen a lot. People do them. And I've made numerous posts about them. I know you guys are really active, as we kind of just talked about. So what's your I don't want to say policy, but what's your kind of way you go about doing scrims? Like, do you just find people online? Do you put out active broadcasts? Like, how do you get into the doing your scrims on a daily basis?
Well, first, everyone just logs on at a certain time. Usually it's around like 7 or something. And then we quickly discuss things like team stuff, and then we start looking for people to scrim. Usually we scrim most often is LZ's team, ZP's team, and sometimes others.
Yeah.
And we just keep doing that for a few hours. Recently with the Versus Sphere, we've been queuing with that. And sometimes we watch replays before we play. And that's basically just how we do it.
So as a team, you guys do go over your replays together. You guys all boot up the replay and watch it together and talk and vent.
Yeah, we have one person like stream in a private channel, and then we just look for things in the game that we could maybe improve on, things we didn't think about, and just typical replay stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I know a couple of teams do that as well, but I don't know how in depth they go. But it's really cool to see teams already doing that at this level. Like, we don't even have any huge events, and you're already scrutinizing.
Yeah, it's such a very early part of the game. It's really good to hear that you guys are actually taking it that seriously. That's actually really cool. Because I know teams take the game seriously for sure, and teams scrim, and they play their best. But like to actually sit down and actually pull apart your games and say, okay, what could we have done better in this engagement? Is really good to hear because. There's going to be a big competitive scene for this game, that's for sure. We wouldn't be doing this show right now if there wouldn't be. But, when it comes to scrimming, like, do you guys ever get it's obviously very difficult to have that guaranteed, okay, we're going to play against Snowflake, we want to play against Idra and LZ. and you guys set it up, and you guys do your picks and bans, and you spend all this time to do this, and then you queue and you get Icebox Team. Like how much does that does that turn you guys off at all? Is it like are there nights where you just can't get your scrim set up? Like,
well, recently we have had no issues getting into games. It's been almost 100%.
Wow.
We'll get to that 6-minute mark where the matchmaking says, okay, you're going against anybody that we set you with. But at that point, like, we almost always get a team. So recently it's been really good. I don't know if they changed something, but it's had its few hiccups in the past, you know. Like, there was a point, like, a few days where no one was getting anybody. So, like, no one was scrimming, but they quickly fixed that. And I think for the most part, it's pretty good right now.
That's good. I mean, obviously, once we get custom games, everything's going to change. But for what it is, we have a slight workaround, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, let me actually, before we leave topics, you know, there was actually a Reddit post on one of our episodes of Town Hall where somebody asked if we could get custom games or a ranked ladder that has leagues. If you had to choose one first, what would you pick?
Oh, ranked, definitely. I dream about ranked. I dream about the day that ranked comes out. I got my 2 liters of soda, and I'm going to grind it out. I'm going to be at the top 5 spot, top, you know, whatever. I'm really looking forward to it. Custom games right now is just a little, like, it's just, how do you call it, convenient, I guess. It's just a convenience that people could have. But, you know, I never had custom games, so I don't really miss it. You guys, I think, did. I joined right after they removed them.
Oh, man, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was glorious days. What about you, Dread?
I also joined after they were removed, and I can also say that I would prefer a rank system, but I think that's merely because I come from the perspective of not struggling from matching with teams. So everybody that we scrim with, typically, we have recently had almost 100% ratio. I think if I had that struggle that a large majority of the people who may see this do, I think I would go with custom games. Because beyond that, the experimentation that I think we can get out of custom games also is something that's really needed to have. So there is that try mode, but I think that a lot of the things that involve an opponent where you need to be like, wait, does this work? And then you can't really figure out if it does unless somehow the opponent has that exact character you need and you have that exact character that you want, and that scenario happens. So I think that's something, I think I would say as a whole, it would be custom games if I didn't struggle, if I had the struggle everyone else had.
All right. It's kind of 50-50.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, if you were, just to mix this up a little bit, if there were guaranteed tournaments with prize money every single week that would pop up as a result of custom games.
Well, okay, yeah.
Does
that money?
Okay.
Because it'd make everything exponentially easier.
True.
But right now we don't have them, so give me that ranked.
Right.
I mean, we still have a ranked league even without customs. So.
It's true. It's true. And for anyone that is unaware, it's called versusphere.net. Let me pull it up actually. Just plug it right now. They have a ranked queue. You can sign up. Can you still sign up?
Yeah. If you have a team of 5, you can sign up still.
Team of 5, you can still sign up.
It's open for a while. I think we'll probably. I don't know how long we're gonna leave it up. Probably 2-3 months maybe. We might reset MMR. Who knows? Just kind of going at it as it is. But yeah, using the system we kind of talked about on this show not too long ago, you get matched up in a chat using the bot that we have. It gives you an MMR, and then you do all kinds of good stuff. You get to draft against people, and you basically it's like a ranked, it's like a pseudo ranked right now. So that exists.
It's kind of like a game battles ladder if anybody's familiar with that.
Yeah.
Same kind of concept.
Which coincidentally, these two guys right now are entirely dominating said ladder. They came on. I can let you guys say it if you want to. You can take the credit. But we opened the league yesterday, and they quickly came out just guns blazing, going through everyone. It was pretty cool. And shout out to all the teams that actually came out and played and are still playing. Really, really appreciate that. Constantly reading your feedback and updating whatever we can. So thank you for that. But yeah, so you guys, as I just said 6 times, have played in the league. What do you think? Is this a good thing that we're moving forward doing these leagues? We have this league, we have ESV coming up, we have Nexus Champ. They're doing a series, I think they're gonna call it. Are these are good things for the scene, you think? Or
oh yeah, I'm really happy and excited that these things are happening. I didn't really expect them. They're happening a lot earlier than I expected. You know, I was expecting just to practice with the team basically until beta came out, and there was a very much larger player pool, and then these things would start happening. But now that they're happening right now, I'm really excited and hopeful for the scene.
Yeah, it's like I've been involved with the competitive side of this stuff since like day one, and I didn't expect to see it anywhere near where it's at right now. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so hyped, and I cannot wait until like the big stuff starts happening. We're gonna build this scene, and it's gonna be awesome.
the scene is going to be very big. I mean, nobody can deny that. I mean, like you said, we have Versusphere, and just to plug the other sites really quick before we just continue moving forward. ESV, he has a long history. He did a lot of stuff with StarCraft 2 in the early days. He was actually way ahead of like MLG, DreamHack, IPL, all those guys. He was running StarCraft 2 events and actually getting pretty solid viewership. And not just viewership, but creating opportunities for the scene. That's what this is all about. So he's doing that with Heroes of the Storm. You guys are playing in his league as well, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And then we have Nexus Champ. They have a bit of a different rule set from what I understand. They have Matt. Do you want to explain that? You read through it a little bit.
I read through it a little bit. I'm not directly involved in it, so I can't really speculate on everything.
Right.
But what I've seen is they're basically trying to run like a full season / league type thing. So they're gonna have 2 groups of 8, and those teams are gonna play against each other inside their own group, as well as play 3 additional matches. So each team will play a total of 10 matches over the season, and that'll be pretty cool to see. I don't know what they're gonna get for teams. I imagine it's gonna be probably all the ones that are in ESV plus 8 more. But we'll see where that goes. It's definitely an exciting time. So
Yeah, we can see they have a tentative schedule here, but just cool to see a lot of different stuff popping up. Just because, again, it's a new market. There's opportunity. Everybody wants a piece of it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun as we move forward.
yeah. All right. So those 3 things, those leagues, like those exist. I'm gonna guess that you guys are aiming for first. Do you think you have a really good shot at it? Like, how confident are you going into all of these things that are happening right now? You don't have to say like yes, we're gonna win.
Question.
You don't have to say yes, we're gonna win. But like, are you really confident? Like, do you feel like you're bringing something new to the scene?
Well, we hope so. We want to be innovating and at the top, and we're practicing for it. If we already are, then that's not going to change anything. We're still going to practice. We're still going to improve as much as we can. So regardless of how well we do, we're aiming to be the best we can and do the best we can, and that's all we can really ask for.
Yeah. All right. That's what I wanted to hear.
So, when you guys, I mean, let's assume you're the best. Let's look at the other teams. Who's second best in your mind? Like, who are the next teams that you would say that when you scrim, who do you look out for the most?
I think our toughest opponent right now is definitely Team Snowflake. We scrim them with them often, and usually it's a lot closer than other games we play with other teams. And then after that, I would put ZP's team. I enjoy their play style. They're really good players, and they're not as good individually, but they're great as a team, and that's what really counts in Heroes. And then almost every other team, I think, is just below that right now, and they're catching up. And I hope to see them at the same level because I love great competition.
How much do you play with the European teams like My Insanity and Empire?
We haven't gotten to play them
at all. So we don't even. We have no comparison at all. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 issues. One, you can't even queue against them.
Yeah,
and then
right.
2, obviously they have weird times compared to ours, like really in the morning, and we play later in the day.
I wasn't sure if somebody found a way to play crossover, on the ladder.
It can happen, but you have to get like really lucky, and it's like right now the scrims are like what? They're like 95% to like almost 100% hit chance with like cross region. It's like 5 maybe.
Oh man, that's rough.
So it's really tough.
Roll the dice, boys.
Yeah, it's like roll a 20-sided die, hope you get a 20. It's
I can say when I play earlier in the day, I get tons, or all the games I get are usually with people from Asia or in Europe. So in solo queue it works, but I guess you just can't team queue.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that gets changed. Maybe custom games will help that. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what we have going forward. All right. So earlier on, actually, before I want to jump to this real bad, but I'm gonna wait. So BlizzCon's coming up. What's your hope for BlizzCon? Like, they said that they're gonna have a tournament. Hopefully that's still happening. Do you guys have like any expectations?
They're not going to retract the tournament. Let me just interject. The tournament's going to happen. They announced the tournament. Details have not been announced yet for neither the World of Warcraft or the Heroes of the Storm tournament. StarCraft 2 and Hearthstone both have their events announced. But yeah, like Matt said, what do you guys expect to come out of it? Dreadnaught, you can start.
I don't know if I expect anything. I definitely have a wish list. I would say that I really hope that they are looking at the scrims and everything and like the scene right now and who's involved. And if they have any way of like scaling of who they think is better and that is like just getting solid competition there is what I really hope to see. And just having good games, because I think that will actually push the scene as a whole, even if it doesn't benefit me directly. If you took me out of the whole thing, it will push the scene and having those level of games, because right now how it is nobody's really getting to see the upper level of like scrimming and everything else and like what is considered to be the scene. They only have a couple glimpses at it, and I think getting the hype behind those games and being shoutcasted and the coordination and pushing this game will really help everyone, even those who have never seen Heroes. And so, as a whole, I just hope for really good competition.
All right.
Art?
Well, there's absolutely no details, and so you can't really expect anything. What I'm hoping for is they don't pull Hearthstone Invitational with Hafu, preparing all those people, and they do like random games, and that'd be good for popularity. But this game is about fierce competition and fighting, and so I just want to get in there and brawl with people. So I think the best route would be to have a qualifier, but that's they can't really do that with the current like system.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think like you said, it's pretty difficult to do a qualifier if the game's in alpha. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, hey, look, you don't have access to this game, but we're doing a qualifier for it. Like they can piss off a lot of fans by doing that. But as somebody who I actually helped produce the Hearthstone stream last year, and I did the pre-production setup, and then I was in the crowd for the actual event. And I'm a big Hearthstone nerd too, so I just want to say, like, even though it was, like you said, not necessarily the best players, and there were like just some personalities and stuff, the crowd was so freaking hype. Like, people were so passionate. People that had never seen the game before, I guarantee you, they had never seen Hearthstone before. Even though they're big, Blizzard fans, they were getting so into it. And I was there with Omega Black Mage. I'm sure you guys know him. And I was like giving him the play-by-play commentary, sitting next to him, just telling him what was happening, because I had been in that beta since a very early stage. But I really hope they do the same thing for Heroes. I mean, like you said, I think it should be teams, and there's a lot of established teams, and Blizzard is well aware of those teams. But I think it'll be invitational for sure if they have a tournament, and we know they're having a tournament. So I'd be shocked if it's a qualifier.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to see good games. Like, I don't.
I agree.
Like said, like, I just want to see games where if someone's coming to look at this for the first time, they don't just see like people running around and not having any idea what's going on, like being like, "Oh my God, turrets attack me! What is this?" Like, I don't want that. I want people to be like, "Okay, this is a strategy. We're gonna execute it, even if it's not a good one." Just be like, I want to see teams moving together, working together, and doing stuff. I don't want to see like 30-minute games where people are trying to figure out the game while they play in a tournament. Like, that's not what I want to see. I want to see hard-hitting action.
All right, guys, we're gonna get a murky Gazlo Abathur. All right, we're gonna get in there. We're gonna get the turrets. We're gonna.
Right. So
I have the same feeling.
They had a few Heroes panels at BlizzCon last year, and one of them they had just developers, just like all Blizzard staff playing 5v5, and it was entertaining. But the way they casted it is they had Browder and Kevin Naki literally looking over the shoulders of players, watching their screens with hand microphones, casting the game. So I think this kind of, I guess my point I'm trying to make is it's kind of putting the fire under their feet to have a spectator client ready by November for BlizzCon, because I don't think they want to do that again. I think they want to really be able to present the game as an esport if they're going to put it on a stage with its own tournament. So as a content creator, I'm just pumped because it's like, well, in theory, by November we will have the spectator client, or they'll at least have an in-house version, which means it's underway.
I mean, for Hearthstone, they didn't have a spectator client, right?
They just split
the stream, right?
That's why they brought me in to help figure that out. Like, yeah, they're like, how do we broadcast this?
They split the monitor, right? And then they just projected it or whatever.
It was not at all that simple. It was incredibly complicated the way we set that all up. Like, to make it look good, we had to there's so many different feeds. The amount of networking we had to do to get that all to work was like a few days of planning. But that's a different story. Yeah, so I mean,
hopefully it goes well. I'm hoping BlizzCon's good. Like, I really, really want it to be awesome for Heroes.
And any other expectations out of the game? Like, do you guys expect them to bring new maps? Do you expect them to bring new heroes? Like, do you expect big announcements out of the game by then? Like, well, I mean, you said you had a wish list. What's your actual wish list other than the competitive side of things? Like, are there other new things on there?
It would be to... I hope they announce the characters, but I don't think they should be available if they actually want to host a tournament, because then you'll be shifting the meta drastically, even if it's one character.
They're going to do that
so
to you.
I think that would be
unfair
for them to do so. Maybe be like, this is it, but for the actual tournament, we're removing this character. Like, have it playable for everybody else, the general public, like, whatever they intend on doing. And then I would hope that they bring essentially the list of players that Arthelon had listed earlier for the top teams, because I agree that list was pretty damn accurate. And I think that as long as it sticks to getting the competition there and them... I guess them enforcing the scene as much as I would if I was them is really just my wish list.
All right.
Well, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have... Warlords of Draenor comes out a week after BlizzCon. We're going to have, like, all these new Warlords of Draenor characters in the game, probably, so have fun with that.
We'll have Gul'dan and Grommash, like, everybody.
There's 8 orcs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, you'll get Cho'Gall or something, right? You'll get an ogre.
Yeah, man. Cho'Gall's going to have the best
Whatever.
dialogue. Oh, my God.
Cool.
All right. So all that stuff out of the way, like all the tournament stuff, everything. Let's talk about the actual game instead of all this lovely outside competitive scene nonsense.
Outside you.
Yeah. So the game itself it's undergone a couple of changes since the beginning. Like it's faster now. There's been a bunch of experience changes. We talked about Underdog a little bit already. We talked about the fact that you can end games really quickly. Do you think the game is too fast? Is it too slow? Are there pockets of the game where it just feels like, oh my god, like I just went from like 1 to 10 in like 5 minutes, and now I'm like 16 to 20 is taking me like 10. Like, is that right? Is there anything that you feel when you play that's just like, man, this should get tweaked? Like I don't like the way that this feels.
Now that you mention it, I think they should maybe slow down the early leveling just a little bit, like by 5% or something, and then maybe because past level 20 it takes forever to get a level, and basically it's just like after that you're like, oh god, it's a 30-minute game, what's happening? How are we level 25? How is this thing still going on? Please end the pain. But I really like the fast paced. If you're in a bad lane or a bad matchup, you're not enjoying yourself, it's not going to last long, and you can just get right down to the map rotations and the big team fighting that everybody loves.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Jed? Anything?
I think if I was to shift anything, it would be concentration on generic talents, which they already kind of attempted to do so with the implementation of artifacts. So, like, instead of the pass, anything beyond that, for instance, like Tenderizer, which is only available on Stitches, but I think is intended to be used on multiple characters. What's another one? Envenom. Protective shield, things like that, working on those more so, because I think it is a good idea as a whole, but they need to work on either who gets them or how they are gotten. For instance, like, I think Tychus is a character who benefits far too much from his talents currently, and it's largely because he gets generic talents.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just like, and that's a whole like huge topic. I know, like if the talent system needs adjustment and what so, but I think if they're going to concentrate on any, it should be those available to more than one character.
For me, for the talents, it's like some heroes just have god-awful talents at some levels. It feels like you're not even picking the talent you want. You're just picking the talent that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Sucks the least, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
ETC, level 1.
There's a lot of level 1 talents.
Barb, level 1, 7, 9, 13.
That's totally worth it. And, yeah,
anyways, I think they could. I think they need to make talents. They just need to go and revise them, make them all feel really good to take, make you really choose what talent you want, what skill you want to improve upon, and yeah, just go and revise those talents, because some of them are just...
Yeah, I know. So I'm just going to keep it on talents for a little bit. So I know that one of my previous teammates, Red Anger, and my not ever teammate, Nick, have both brought up the topic of artifacts were in the game for a little bit, and they felt like okay-ish, but there was just a bunch of other issues with them. What about like rolling those artifacts into talents, like certain things. So like you take a certain talent on Vala and you get either like mana and cooldown reduction, or you take the other talent on that tier and instead you get like attack damage and maybe attack speed, stuff like that, to kind of give you a sort of build to aim for, and kind of sort of basically just flat upgrade the talents and make it feel like you're getting stronger every time you pick anything, and kind of use that idea to balance out those talents that are just seemingly useless right now.
I actually had a thought about that, and it's a little complicated, but you could switch around. You could take out all the generic stat talents, like, you know, Vampiric Essence, Lifesteal, and all that. And then have some levels you can only upgrade one of your abilities, and then other levels you can only choose a stat, like, you know, plus health, plus damage, plus lifesteal, plus attack speed or something.
Yeah.
And you alternate between upgrading your abilities and upgrading your stats, basically.
Do you think that should still be every 3 levels, or should they make it so they happen every 2 levels, or?
Well, I threw around the numbers in my head. I'm like, well, they could do 1, 3, 5, 7, or like 1, 4, 6. You know, it's just a bunch of numbers. They could balance it however they want. But I think it'd be a cool idea because, you know, who doesn't want stats?
Stats are always nice.
But at the same time, their core design philosophy is to keep things as simple as possible. They don't want you reading a lot of numbers. They don't. There's no items in the game for a reason. And
they took the stat screen out.
Yeah.
You can't click on things anymore. Blizzard, please.
Blizzard, please. Continuing on the topic of talents, though, how do you guys feel about the new talents like Seasoned Marksman and Conjurer's Pursuit? Now, Conjurer's Pursuit, that's adds a mechanic of grabbing the globes. For anyone that doesn't understand how that works, you grab the globes, you get additional mana regen. And Seasoned Marksman actually adds last hitting into the game. Something that they initially said at BlizzCon that they really wanted to avoid.
I'm pretty sure Arth is a fan of globes, and I've may or may not have.
Well, okay, I love going to get globes. I was talking about season. I was grimacing at.
All right, well, let's talk about Seasoned Marksman.
Well, overall, you know, like, there's no reason to hit minions almost ever. So if you're getting Seasoned Marksman, that means you're almost always going to have to push the lane, and sometimes that's just not a viable strategy. And, you know, having Seasoned Marksmans on melee heroes makes almost no sense because they're probably going to take a bunch of harass and just have to risk a lot just to build that up. I think the path of the, you know, whatever talents were too boring, but they were fine, I think, because, you know, you take it and you just go. You don't have to do all this extra stuff just to get worth out of your talent you've chosen. But I think the globe talents are fine because that it's a lot easier to get the globes. You can make rotations around the map depending on like where the globes are, and the feeling of stacking up a bunch of health regen or mana regen does feel nice too.
I mean, in theory, it adds skill to the game.
Yeah.
It's like a yes and no thing. Like, yeah, it adds skill, but does it like really?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even have to last hit. You just have to hit them within a certain time period before they die. Like,
oh, are you talking about Seasoned Marksman or globes when you say that?
Marksman for that one, obviously.
Yeah.
No, like the last hitting is completely brain dead. All you have to do is right click and then you can go like read on a Reddit thread or something. Minion waves cleared.
I'm pretty sure it works exactly like Witch Doctor's passive. Like it doesn't have to be the direct last hit, or like anything that says when something's dying or like dead. You don't have to be the last hit. It's just got to be around you.
Oh man,
and then it gives it to you.
Yeah. So I think everybody kind of agrees that Seasoned Marksman just doesn't make sense to be in the game, but
it just doesn't fit the theme of heroes.
Yeah,
because no one's gonna sit there and farm for 50 minutes. You know, you want to get in there, you want to fight. You don't want
unless you're KO.
But moving to Conjurer's Pursuit, unless you want to talk about Seasoned Marksman, I mean, it just seemed like you hate it just as much as Arthelon.
Yeah, I just think it's unrealistic. We just talked about how fast the game progresses, and then you just gave me, like, the only way it would be viable is if I scale the game, like, out to 25 minutes minimum, like, to where it's, like, starting to feel like a path. It, like, was Path of the Assassin, so it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's like I would, like, for instance, you showed Falstad there, I would rather take, like, either the mana with the globes or even, like, increased range on my E, just because it's going to be way more useful way more often. So it's just, like, it takes too long for Seasoned to be, or even Bribe. I mean, that's a very common pick on Falstad right now.
Yeah.
Going back to the useless level 1 or useless talents.
Yeah, Falstad's level 1.
Yeah,
here's your example.
Rainer's level 1 is so all over the place. It's crazy. He
So
gets like all the new level 1s.
Yeah, it's true. Conjurer's Pursuit, though, I mean, Arth, you seem to be in favor of the idea of collecting globes and getting the additional mana regen. It's pretty good for a lot of characters.
See, my only issue with Conjurer's Pursuit is, like, I collected 36 globes. Why am I still going Like, if I get to a certain amount of globes, like, I have 8 stacks, like, I should not be going still. Please, just give me my mana that I worked so hard for.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine because, you know, globe hunting is pretty fun for me, at least. And, you know, I yell at my teammates because they steal my globes before I get into the lane.
Yells at me when I do it.
He's coming to get. He's like, "Don't hit the glove, don't hit the glove," and then you like
oh,
so
yeah, that was bad.
So
I think it's
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think, you know, stacking is a dangerous kind of approach, but for regen, I think it's fine because, you know, health regen, you can have as much health regen as you want, but if you get bursted down, it doesn't matter. And mana regen, obviously, you know, no one likes being and so I think I really like the regen master and Conjurer's Pursuit talents.
Dread?
I do like the idea of leaving the globe picking up in the game. I don't necessarily think that it's not wrong to have them in it by any means. I think, like, for instance, the marksman is just ridiculous. But the other ones, it kind of makes sense to a decent extent. I don't think they're, like, overpowered. I don't think they might be a little bit underpowered, kind of, depending on, like, a solo queue game versus competitive scene, for instance. Globes are a lot harder to pick up because you're shifting, rotating a lot more. There's less of a laning phase. But I don't think it's bad. I don't think they should be removed. Maybe a couple number adjustments. But, I mean, leaving it as an option, like, I think more options the better, as long as they're viable and you don't regret taking them. Like for instance, false stats options. Like,
yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Just final question on this topic is: do you think they could ever do you think globes could get to the point, if they scale them to the point where they're like a huge part of the matchup, a huge part, to the point where globe denying and basically globe setups and just using globes in general, like for baiting people and just waiting for the moments. Do you think that could be a crucial part of the competitive game?
Oh yeah, we've done that before when we saw the enemy team. They had 3 heroes with the globe talents, so we're like, wait a minute, we could just zone them out and kill them if they go for this globe. What was the other part of that question? I'm sorry.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, just using the globes as bait and just...
Oh yeah.
It's like mini objectives on the globes.
We've already been trying to do that if we see the enemy team have like 2 or 3 of them have the globe talent.
And I think it goes beyond just Regen Master or Conjurer's Pursuit. It goes, the globes themselves are a big part of laning phase, especially depending on the character you're playing.
True. And
the levels at which you're at. And so I think globes as a whole already are a small dynamic that hasn't been exploited to the level that I think you will eventually see it at. But it's definitely one that a lot of the teams that are in like the scene right now are definitely looking towards like taking advantage of. It's more than just like zoning out of XP, even zoning out of globes, then leads to your ability to zone out of XP. It's something that should be considered for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you can really hard trade with someone and their only way of getting back in is touching Fountain and then also getting globes, and you're able to deny them, that's pretty big. And kind of, I guess it's really related. How do you guys feel about being able to see enemy teams' talents on the scoreboard from level 1? Like, is that to me? I don't like it. I'll put my thing out there. I just don't like it. Is that something that you like? Does it bring anything to the matchups? Like, is it good? Is it bad?
I don't think it's really necessary. If it's a really big talent, you're gonna see it eventually. You know that they took it, and you definitely shouldn't not be able to see them before you see the actual enemy hero. Like, sometimes we've done really cheesy comps where we get like 3 demolitionists, and we literally just have to not level up the level 1 talent before we start like 5-man pushing a lane because it'll make it too obvious.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I share the same view. If you see the character, you should be able to see the talent, but if you don't see the character, it shouldn't be known.
Just generic Fog of War stuff. Yeah.
So just to clarify, when you're running the triple demolitionist strat, that's a pub game, right?
No, that's
We've ran it in scrims.
Wow.
They run some pretty funny stuff in scrims.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
It's nice. All right. Is there anything else, Jake, that you wanted to go over?
No, I think that covers it pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I think we're pretty much set. All right. So the game. I guess, Jake, you can introduce this one for the new heroes that are coming out, since you got your lovely little icon.
Well, I mean, let's just let's wrap up the state of the game discussion really quick. Just they bumped the game speed. Are you guys comfortable with it? You guys just yes or no? Like it's good. You want it faster? You want it slower?
They bumped the game speed, but
Oh, that was probably before you started playing the game, honestly.
I think they were there. So at the beginning of the game was just slow. Like everything about it was slow. Like moving around was slow.
oh, you're talking about input lag?
No. This was PAX East. This was PAX East.
This was before input lag. So basically, like what it was like even just like getting across lanes was slow. Like movement speed was very, very slow. And then they bumped that up, and then they did
the actual like game like movement speed and everything.
Yeah. They increased.
Okay.
So how do you feel about the actual like engine, like not or like the movement speed, the delay on your abilities, like casting time, all of that, like just as a whole? Are you comfortable with the engine? Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Do you think that movement speed should scale throughout the game? I know that's a few questions right there, but.
Well, from a League perspective, it feels really weird to have all the heroes at the same movement speed because, you know, if you're chasing somebody, just nothing's going to happen because you're both running at the same exact speed. As for, like, the speed of the game, I think they could slow down some skill shots because some skill shots don't even feel like skill shots. Like, for example, Nova's Q is, like, instant.
Yeah.
And Mirrodin's Q is, like, instant. I think if they slowed those down, made them more powerful maybe for the compensation, I think it'd add a lot of depth to the game. As for the speed, I think it's fine. You know, I love mounting up and getting across the map pretty quickly. But it still allows enough time for you to out-rotate the enemy if you make good calls. And I don't really have any issues with the speed. I never really thought about it honestly until now.
Oh, Dread?
I like the changes that they did with the movement speed. Like Arthelon said earlier, I might slightly agree with like a minor tweak to early leveling, but other than that, I like the speed of the game, the progression, and definitely the movement speed. I liked the up to it.
Are you talking about movement speed or experience?
Well, it was kind of, in general, the flow of the game, yeah.
They shifted the speed of the game with the movement speed at the same time.
Yeah.
But no, I like the movement speed. It was too slow before. Skill shots were almost impossible to dodge. You couldn't use any micro whatsoever. It was like you're either there and you're hit, or you weren't there and they just missed it completely.
Right.
There was like a Stitch's hook would come out, and seriously, it could be extended hook like post 16, and it could hit you like because it's just you moved too slow. You react perfectly, you expected it, and you still can't get out of it if you didn't have a dash. And so how it changed, I agreed with it, and I like it 100%. I do disagree with that every character has the same base speed. I think it should adjust accordingly. Like there should be minor tweaks to certain characters, but I do like the up as a whole.
All right. So before we leave, certain characters have move speed talents on them. Illidan, ETC, Vala. Do you think like that's the direction they should take it, or should it also be just like baked into the heroes that they have different move speeds innately?
Well, the issue with League is that eventually they kept adding heroes with like a bunch of mobility and a bunch of skills that like got them all over the place. So eventually you had that mobility power creep where if you design a hero or a champion that has none of that, then they usually just suck. And all the older heroes suck because they don't have that mobility. But I think, you know, mobility, the way they have it, I think it's fine because it's just something you can add to the kit and it makes the kit either feel better or it feels worse. So I think it's fine where it's at, and they just keep at it, refining it. Yeah.
Okay. Dread?
I think like I like it on certain characters. For instance, like the ETC and everybody else. But I think if you have to take that talent over a different one just because you need like a little bit of mobility, I think sometimes that might be flawed. Like in my head, the one that sticks out for me would be Raynor's W Inspire Hero, I believe is the name of it. Which, depending on how many people he hits, then increases his movement speed by a certain quantity. Like if I wanted to take something else, I have a hard time. Like if I need any kind of movement at all, like I have a hard time doing that because I have very little escapes, and like I have to take that talent to be able to move at all. I just think that some of them need a little bit of adjustment. It doesn't need to be a lot, but I would tweak some.
All right, fair enough.
Well, yeah, moving on. I think that kind of covers our state of the game discussion. We can move on to the topic of the 3 new heroes that have been announced to be added to the game. Any like initial like thoughts? We'll just introduce them. We got Asmodan and he has his nipple rings, which apparently have their own physics. That's what they tweeted out, saying, fun fact, his nipple rings have their own physics. Just want to point that out. Chain Storm Stout obviously looks like a tank. I think Asmodan probably looks like a specialist. And then Anubarak actually looks like an assassin. Dread, which one are you excited for the most?
Oh, well, obviously I haven't gotten a tank yet, and I main tank, so I'll go Chen right away. Like, it's just diversity, another character for me to actually practice.
I feel like you're probably gonna play a lot of a noob, honestly. I don't know if you've seen the videos.
He is a noob.
Oh man,
He did it.
Dread is like so in the front line all the time. What hero he's playing? Like he's
I am very in there. It's like how I like to play.
Yeah. So I think you'll probably hit a noob. But okay, keep going. So you want to see Shen? Have you seen any of the videos about him or anything?
I've watched a little bit of them. Definitely haven't researched like in depth on any of them. I think honestly, I think Chen Chen was the one I looked at the most just because it was a tank, and I felt like he looked either absolutely very like kind of like ETC-esque, but even worse, to where you're like not impressed.
Yeah.
Like there's very little to go. Like it's just like you aren't bringing anything that I couldn't have gotten from this character, and this character, minus maybe one mechanic. Which when I say the ETC-esque, it's kind of like his Moshpit.
Yeah.
That's all he's really got going for him right now. Like he has a decent other features, but you can get them somewhere else. So that's how I kind of felt. Like obviously I don't know the numbers or anything, but that's how it seemed on like first appearance. And the other two I didn't research enough to really feel like I have a comment. I just pray to the heavens they avoid specialists and concentrate on other genres of characters.
Yeah, Asmodean's like he's kind of the in between of like an assassin. Well, not really an assassin, but just like a generic caster and specialist. He's got a couple of summons, but he also does a sizable amount of spell casting. So
yeah, we'll see where they label him, because even if they label a character as a specialist, I mean half the time they label like Kerrigan for a long time was basically a tank.
Yeah, I mean an assassin.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean those labels don't mean that much. I mean, but we'll see what they actually get labeled as.
But, so Arth, what's your take on these new three?
Well, much to the disgust of other people, I've never played Warcraft 3. You know, I started out with WoW, and I never really got to play it.
You should play it.
These three characters are just kind of boring for me because I don't really know any of them. You know, I played Diablo 3 a little bit, well, a lot actually, but I never actually like really did the storyline. So I've seen Asmodean, but I don't really know the significance of him.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just the playstyle of these heroes, and I haven't really got to see their abilities yet because they just haven't really been posted anywhere. Like no one's gone and posted their actual abilities, so I haven't been able to look at them.
Yeah, you can see a couple of them out there, but not the whole lineup yet. Yep.
But I have seen Asmodean. I think he looks pretty cool because you can summon a bunch of dudes, you can cast death rays and whatnot. Yeah. So probably Asmodean, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus, he looks like he's like Urgot from League. He kind of looks like that.
Yeah, he's got that crab walk.
I'm looking forward for that nipple ring, showing that off.
Yeah.
Look at this
dancing back and forth. Just dancing back and forth so you can just nipple ring all day.
I think one of my favorite comments I read, this was the top comment on the Blizzard forum, see if it's still up there on the news post, but it's like, yes, it's right here. It says, Asmodean better be able to project his face in the opponent's face and just talk trash. And like if you played Diablo, I mean Asmodean's always projecting his face and talking trash.
Yeah, I went through that storyline. It was hilarious. I was like click, 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 click.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't care what you have to say. I'll go kill you later.
You're gonna die by me anyways. I don't care. You just talk your trash. So it's funny that neither of you guys have actually like looked at, because so I've played with you guys and we used to scrim against each other a lot way back, and like I'd like to say that I have a pretty good understanding of how you guys play, and I want to say that a noob is gonna be like it's like your team's character, like it lets you go in and do crazy stuff. So I'm gonna call it right now that you guys are gonna play more noob than any of the other two right there in that top three, but we'll see going forward. I think you should check him out. He's cool.
I'm just looking forward to playing all three of them. You know, I can sit here and think about them all day, but in the end, it's gonna be me playing them and either enjoying them or not. So.
All right. Well,
fair enough.
There's those new three, and on the same topic of heroes, you guys have got to have some kind of favorite heroes. Obviously, we know Dread plays warriors. We'll get back to him. Arth, what do you play? Like, what's your, if you had to say that you had like two characters you could play, what would those two be?
I really want some mages in the game. I want to be able to cast stuff, obliterate people, watch them cry. I'll drink their tears. So give me that Janna, give me that Kael'thas, give me those wizards, mages, etc. Millhouse Mana Storm.
Oh man, I'm actually.
Yeah, but then you're just gonna hurt yourself if you do that. Like, it's gonna be bad news, man. Millhouse always gets into trouble.
But Millhouse with like mirror image, tons of little Millhouses all over the place.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Don't let him have like that Brightwing glitch early on, like where she was just screaming in your ear with death and like the repetition with his voice though. Like, please do not make that a thing.
How about we take some mercenaries?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Brightwing was so bad if she would spam ping.
It was bad.
So
bad.
Really good at murder.
Those are your two most wanted. What are your two favorite in the game right now?
For me,
yep.
I really like Barb because you just get in there and you just kill everybody, and then the second one's a toss-up between Zeratul and Zagara. I kind of go between them. I love Zeratul because you can just do so much crazy stuff with him. He does a lot of damage. You know, you have like a sticky grenade, you get in there, you kill somebody, you get out, it feels really good. I'm sure it doesn't feel good for the enemy, but I don't care about them. But between those three, those are definitely top two. I guess we're top two, but I can't decide between Zag and Zeratul.
I have to say I'm amused by the fact that you call it a sticky grenade. You know,
Halo baby, Halo, catch it.
And Dread, two most wanted heroes and two favorite.
Most wanted would be, oh gosh, I can't say a specific character. I guess the type would be one. Almost like an illusionist type, like anybody who can be a tank, but at the same time, I guess almost juke your opponents, I guess what I mean. And I don't mean that defensively, almost aggressively. So like fake how you're gonna engage rather than disengage, because a lot of characters, I don't know how you would do it, but I like the idea of being able to manipulate how you get in there. So like an example, LeBlanc in League of Legends is very good at being like the deceiving, like she gets away and then she comes back. Somehow being able to manipulate, I'm going in, and then all of a sudden they realize, holy shit, he wasn't. And then I come back in like in a different way, and that's when the team fight starts. That's like in my head.
Nova Clone with level 13 talent?
Yeah, you know, we'll just do that, but with a tank like instead, and then he'll just,
I'm trying to think of
just give like Diablo Wormhole, and then you're set.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just like, I like characters who can engage in unorthodox ways, because I feel like right now how the meta is set up is it's very we're here, we're ready to go, and all of a sudden we're going in there and we fight, and it's very, you can predict it's going to happen. Right. I want one who can find a way to pull it. Like Stitches is the closest thing to that right now, is because of his hook is like the closest thing to a not traditional engage that you can make happen.
Well, that's like textbook Anubarak for the record.
Well, we had Shadowstalk, so like Shadowstalk.
Yeah, Shadowstalk brought that, but they
and then they nerfed it.
But it's like nerf and buff, sort of, kind of more buff.
Not really.
We think it's more nerf than buff.
Well, I guess that's another discussion.
That's a whole other discussion. That's a big discussion, actually.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave that. We'll leave that line. So your two favorite in-game.
Right now, if I was gonna take a tank, it would be Stitches for sure. But then beyond that, I think I like the concept of Avatar, but I don't really enjoy playing them. But the one I really like playing is Vala.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Vala's potentially the most popular character in the game, honestly. Among top level players, yeah.
The level, like her kit as a whole works really well, but then I think the diversity in her builds is really impressive, along with Tychus. Those two damages I really like, because you don't have to build the same thing every way or roughly the same thing. You can go a lot of different routes.
Yeah, for me, I think Vala is like the quintessential hero. Like I think if every hero was kind of like Vala, not as like a ranged DPS hero there, but her design, I think we'd be in a good spot, because she just feels really good to play. You know, she doesn't feel overpowered to play against when you're playing against her. And I like her talent choices. I just like her whole kit, and it flows really well.
Yeah. I think Blizzard should focus more on like Vala, Tychus, and Rhaegar type builds. Like those three do definitely stand out to me. Be like, yeah, these are the talent trees that you should be aiming for. I'm a fan of it. I like them.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about, instead of heroes, let's talk about maps a little bit. You know, they just made a lot of changes to Garden of Terror, so you guys think it's a little bit better now? I mean, Garden of Terror had a lot of problems. It is a new map. A lot of times they tweak maps. I mean, Haunted Mine's got a lot of tweaks over time. How do you feel about it? Have the changes made a big difference on the playstyle of the map? Have they reduced the game time that you guys have noticed in your games?
Well, for sure, the map had tons of problems before. Like, it'd be like level 16 before we even started to go into the objectives of the map, because it was too risky, because, you know, you did the golem and it shows that you're doing the golem, so the enemy can engage on you. But I think the map does feel better now. I think it still needs a lot of tweaks. for me personally, like when I get into the plant horror or whatever, it doesn't feel really powerful at all. I feel like, well, I could just do this better with my hero. Like this objective doesn't really do anything for me. What else? They sped it up a little bit, but I think it could be a little bit faster because right now it's still really, really slow compared to other maps at least. But it feels a lot better, and they just need to tweak it a little bit more, I think.
Right. So on Garden, you have, as you said, with the objective early on. Do you think that like night comes way too soon? Because it comes at what, like level 3 every game normally?
Yeah.
It's like crazy soon for me.
Well,
is that the same feeling?
I think it was an issue beforehand when the mercs disappeared.
Right.
But now that the mercs stay, I think it's fine that it whenever nights comes, because it doesn't really change anything. You can either go into the plant and get the seeds, or you don't. So I think it's fine that it it's just nighttime whenever.
Okay.
Dread?
I'm alright with the changes now. Like, I agreed that it was too early whenever the nighttime, like Garth said. And now that those are in the game, I like that. The mercenaries staying during nighttime. My biggest issues with the map would probably be they really complement heavy gank teams. It's hard to get full-on 5v5s, especially in certain parts of the map, unless you know an objective is being taken, and there are a lot of objectives, and it's a very big map. And so I think my issue with it is that roaming squads and very strong 3v3, 2v2 skirmishing type compositions are really big in it. But I think as a whole, I like the map, I guess, but I do think the Garden Terror is underpowered. 90% of the time, we get in it and we try and push something. If we haven't killed one of them, they're going to want to full engage on us, and it's like so underwhelming that with Dragon Knight, you can at least kick somebody out and do a decent amount of damage and then decide when you want to remove yourself. With that one, it is literally like they've engaged. Now I've got to cancel it. There goes 100 seeds. It just doesn't feel very solid. And I don't know if that's because the players haven't figured out how to play the map correctly yet, or if it's because of how the actual mechanics work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that maybe there's some strategy that we haven't really thought of to do with the plant terror. Like maybe you send the plant terror to a solo lane and it pushes, and then you have 4 people elsewhere. But when the plant terror is with the team, it definitely does not feel very powerful at all.
Yeah. I recently did a video on the plant terror, just tiny little like 1-minute thing. Just talking about the positioning of the overgrowth, I think it's called, the W.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I always see people just like, they'll just run up to whatever they're trying to siege and just basically chuck it as far as they can in. And like to me, it's just silly because it can get DPS down and get broken in like 2 seconds. So for me, like my big things are, if you're going to use the plant terror early in the game, make sure that you put that overgrowth down farther back, like almost in your team, so it forces them to come out. That way you can just destroy walls, or have the first split push comp we've seen in this game, and like maybe put like a Zagara bottom and have like your team push that while the plant terror is up like top or something, and then you might be able to get something with that. I don't know. It's something I've been trying to kick around my head as well, trying to figure out how to make it work. But I totally agree with you guys. It's definitely lackluster in the early game. But 30 minutes, oh my goodness, that thing ruins people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, I think that's designed to just kind of try to end the game, because the games run so long. They're just like, well, let's make this thing ridiculous. But
yeah.
Well, I guess it shouldn't be as powerful as Dragon Knight, because it's a lot easier to activate.
Right.
There's no risk really of activating it, because the enemy can't stop you or anything. It's in your base. If you have 100 seeds, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it has to be worthwhile to even get into it, instead of like stockpiling seeds until like the very end of the game.
Yeah.
I think one minor thing that I think a lot of people don't think of on the map too is my biggest issue with it actually comes with, I don't know this 100%, but I'm pretty sure the amount of health that the 2 large bosses that spawn the seeds is dependent on what night cycle it's on. And so if you go to the first one, for instance, it's very easy to 1 to 2 man it, and I like that, because then it's very much so that there's a lot more team play and strategy that can come out of that when it's not, okay, we're all 5 going to do this boss, and then it shows it. It's like, if 2 people are missing from lane or 3 people missing from lane, all of a sudden you see it being aggroed. Like, you don't know how many are there, how many, like, they might be returning the lane, because it can be 1 to 2 manned. And so I kind of like I just think once you get the first one down, if you go to the second one, you're going to need at least 3 to 4 people. It has far too much health and does too much damage, and it's way too risky with them seeing you doing it. So I think that how much health it has and how fast it gets it is too quick. I like the first one, and then I think it gets way too hard.
Now, do you think if they changed the mini-map so that it no longer notified when it was being attacked, do you think that would help the map out a lot?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know if I can answer that 100%. I would say it definitely would force a lot more teamwork, but that's all I really know.
For me, it's really tough to take down the golem, but unlike other maps, like for example, mines, if you take the golem down in the mines, you get a bunch of skulls. Or if you take the golem on other camps, you get a big golem that pushes for you. It doesn't feel like there's enough of a reward for killing the golems on the plant map because all you get are seeds.
Yeah.
And so I think they either need to scale them down a lot or make them far more rewarding. And as for the vision thing, I think you shouldn't, because it's just there's nothing like it on other maps. Like, you know, if there's somebody taking a merc camp, you can't, the skull doesn't flash red,
right?
And you can see they're doing knights. So I don't think you should be able to see if they're doing the plant thing or not, because it's pretty easy to check and pretty easy to make a decision based off if you know they're doing it or not.
I would disagree with that statement, though. On mines, you can see what's being aggroed in the mines. In Dragonshire, you can see when they're taking either one of the shrines. In the tribute, you can see when they're capping the tribute. In every map, you can see when the actual mechanic is being taken and where they are when it's actually happening. So I think removing the site is actually, it would be the first of its kind, really. But I think there's too many mercs on that map for it to be justifiable to not show when they're doing the huge objective. It's because, if you think about it, there's, 4 on the bottom half, 4 on the top half. That means that at any point that any one of those 8s can be taken. So I think you need to know when the golem's being aggroed. I just think if you decrease the health, it would actually accent a lot, because then if 3 people disappear and then 1 person's doing the golem and 2 more doing a different merc camp, it creates a lot more diversity in what can happen. Right now, you need a full team to take the Garden Terror or do the damage to the Garden Terror golem, and that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's true. I was talking about merc camps because it feels like taking a golem as a merc camp.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Very true.
All right. Well, that's Garden.
One map.
We don't
to go.
We don't have to go through all of them.
No,
is there anything in any other map that really stands out? I mean,
stuff that you like, stuff that you dislike.
Yeah.
Anything that big that's just oh my god, this game, this is what sets it apart, or this is awful.
I really hate Mines map simply because it's a really small map and there's only 2 lanes. I feel a lot better when I'm on a 3-lane map, personally, and then because of that, I think the map is way too snowbally. If you have a 1-2 level of disadvantage, you can't go get skulls. So it's there's multipliers on snowball, which is insane for a map, I think. So I think they need to tweak Mines a little bit, maybe just scrap it and make it a 3-lane map or something. But personally, I don't like it. I know a bunch of other people don't like it. And I like all the other maps, though. I really do enjoy Cursed Hollow and Dragonshire and Blackheart's Bay.
Okay. Anything good?
I think I feel the same way. I think the snowballing is a little too hard on Mines. It's we've got the lead, we can proceed to Hulk smash, and you earn too much from being that little bit ahead because the team can't contest the objective, and the objective on that map is debatably the strongest. So I do think that it maybe not the objective itself, but even if you get a decent side objective, it's just too easy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think that I don't like it, and I think the size is really relevant on why that happens, because if I wanted to send 1 person to get skulls to try and catch us up a little bit and we're behind, and the rest of us defend them from pushing with camps, for instance, that 1 person is not only spotted but easily accessible to 5-man team to just go get them, kill them, and then it's well, now we can't even try and contest. So I do think that it's too snowbally. And then I like and dislike the mechanics of Blackheart's Bay. Certain parts of it I really enjoy. And for instance, the whole debating on when to turn in and when not to turn in, I think is a really cool concept. But at the same time, I think Blackheart's Bay is really hard to also come back on. Not really hard, but I think it might be a little too hard. I think it needs like a minor tweak. Because if you're a team behind, the other team can very easily just constantly take objectives on the map, get the coins, turn in, and not worry about it. They don't have to fight you. And I think they should be forced to do that at some point.
That's very true. Because you can win by never engaging. You can win by just dominating the map.
I think at a certain point, it becomes like you have to defend, but you also have to stop them from turning in.
Right.
But I think at that point, if you're that behind, you kind of deserve to lose because you got that behind. So to add on to the mines also is for a lot of heroes, I have to take like different talents because some talents are just completely worthless on that map. Like for Barb, usually I get lifesteal because I'm going to be doing like merc camps. But on that map, I like have to take Shot of Fury because I'm not going to be hitting anything.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I know we're running short on time, but I'm going to put this out there anyways. This is going back to Mines again. So Mines is the only map where this actually occurs, and it's... some people have like a really big issue with it. Other people don't even know it exists. So the way that the map is laid out, right? You have one golem that goes top, one golem that goes bottom. That happens. Great. But you also have the merc camp placements that are really awkward. So like top lane mercs will always hit first fort no matter which side you cap. If you cap their mercs, if you cap their giants, it'll hit top fort, the first one. If you cap yours, top fort, first one. If you cap bottom, it'll hit their second, and yours will hit their first. And why this actually matters is if you have your golem is in top lane and you manage to cap both of those, then you pretty much automatically get a huge advantage that the other team can't possibly ever get unless it's like way into the later game. So like, first off, do you know what I'm talking about? Second, do you think it's a good idea? Do I need to explain it more?
What do you mean by first and second? You mean like if you take the giants on their side, that they go to their second fort?
They go to their So if you're top lane, if you're left side of the map, if you take the giants in on their side of the map, it'll go and attack that first fort that's up there. And so basically, if you break that first fort for the first golem, you automatically get better positioning for your golem by the time that it gets there. Because it's going to be able to go through the wall, it's going to be able to get to their second thing, and then if they manage to kill the golem, it'll be at their second fort, whereas if you kill their golem, it's probably going to be at your first fort. I know this is kind of a complex question.
I get what you're saying.
It's just like, it's one of those balance things that's like, is this really a good idea or not?
So you're saying early game, like if your golem is top, it's easy to get the 4 giants if you cap them. Yeah, if you're bottom, you can't get 4 giants, you can only get 2.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a question that's been posed in the community, but hasn't really gotten a lot of feedback, and so I kind of just thought about it and wanted to throw it out. I know it's super complex and it's hard to talk about right now, but
me personally, the top giants are like really hard to take because it's really easy for the enemy to see that you're taking them.
Right.
And, the bottom ones are pretty easy because they're really close to your base and you can protect your site and they won't even know. I think I'm fine with the golems going different directions. I think that adds complexity because at the beginning of the game, you're like, oh, where's our golem? Oh, he's going top. We should put our aggressive pushers top and see if they can get a couple turrets or a gate or even the fort before we even have a golem to go. So the golem gets farther and you have an advantage.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to play around that. And I think the issues with the map are not really caused by the positioning of the mercs, I guess.
Okay.
Dread, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think that I don't like it working that way. It gives very few advantages and quite a bit of disadvantages, in my opinion, to the team that is like capturing that one that's going to be split and hitting the second tier. So I don't like it, and it's largely because that I think that golem positioning is the most important thing on that map if you manage to survive beyond the first one, which can be questionable depending on how it goes. But if you do go beyond that where your golem is in comparison to their golem is largely going to determine how the remainder of the game goes. Even if you're slightly behind, but your golem is very far ahead, you are still going to have a huge lead on that map. And those merc camps are a large part of deciding how far your golem is going to get in the very beginning of the game. And so the team that has the golem going on the top end of the map, being able to double stack mercenary camps and weaken it faster, have a very large advantage in that concept. And so I don't like that. But I also have a huge issue with that the top lane is so much shorter than the bottom lane.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you lead, Jake, if you want to take us into the next segment.
Well, I guess the next and last segment is just like, what's your guys' plans moving forward? I mean, as a team, you guys are obviously like expanding. You guys are probably shooting for more, like some sponsors. I don't know if you guys have any sponsors to date, but as Heroes grow, I mean, as the game and the competitive scene continues to grow, what do you guys like? What are your plans?
Well, our plan, no matter what, is to play. Enjoy our time playing together. Playing to be the best, improving, practicing, all that good stuff. As for sponsors and all that, we'll deal with it as time goes on. And I think if we are making our like website or whatever, we're gonna try to like provide content, guides, videos, etc. We might do that anyway if we don't have a website. But there's lots of. I think there's gonna be lots of stuff to do in the future, and we're just prepping for it.
And any leagues you guys are competing in now that people can like look out for you at?
Yeah, we'll be in the ESV league, which we're super hyped about. And I guess if Nexus Champ is having, like, we haven't really heard any info about it until today.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But we'll definitely be participating in what's open. We'll try to be in every league or whatever, because we definitely want to compete. And we're ready to compete.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, well, I guess just final shout-outs at this point in time, because it has been, I think we are definitely out of time. So why don't we start with you, Dreadnaught? Why don't you give your final shout-outs, where people can find you on the social world, Twitch, YouTube, whatever.
I currently don't have a Facebook. I do have a Twitter, which you can see here. It's at DreadnaughtHots. I also stream on Twitch, largely our team scrims, and then on the weekends I have more like interaction style, and that is Twitch/Dreadnaught_Heroes. And you can recognize any of the guys on the team because we lead with the tag in front of our name of SMG. So if you want to see not just me, but anybody else on the team, and that's where you can find me. And then we have Facebook at facebook.com/Symbiote Gaming if you want to look at the teams.
Cool. Arthelon?
You can follow me at Twitter/Arthelon, Twitch/Arthelon. Shout out to our team, our other 3 members that are with us. They're awesome. I love them, and I'll be playing with them. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Because she's gonna kill both of you, you guys have a manager, right?
Yeah, we do.
Shout out to our manager. She is a lovely gal. Her name's Katya, and we'll be planning to do stuff with her, I think, and then she'll get her due compensation soon.
Cool. All right.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thanks very much for coming on for the first episode of Clairvoyance. Matt, why don't you give your shout-outs where people can find you?
Yeah, everything's at CSTeve/CSTeve. Not YouTube, because for some reason they won't let me have that. I'm working on that. But Twitch, Twitter, hit me up there. You can find me on Reddit, /Heroes of the Storm. So that's all the good stuff. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll be doing more of these. So thanks.
Well, my stuff's pretty straightforward. If you guys are watching this, my YouTube is youtube.com/solidjakegg. Same for my Twitter. Thanks very much again, guys, for coming on. Matt, it was a pleasure doing our first show together. I'm excited doing many, many more in the future. But that does it for the first episode of Clairvoyance. Take care.